So one thing I wanted to point out on this page is the editorial recommendations. So this is a placement that is available as part of the Associates program. For those of you that don't know, Amazon Associates program is an affiliate program, essentially. It pays a commission to anybody that wants to link to Amazon based on anything that that customer buys within a period of time after they land on the Amazon website. So a lot of social media influencers and stuff already have links that they use because they're part of the program to drive customers to Amazon and purchase, whatever product they're calling attention to and more because they get a commission on it. Well, certain Amazon Associates content producers are invited into this on-site program. It's called On-Site Associates. And they then curate product that they feature on their website to draw awareness to it. So this is probably, this is exactly what it is. It's an article written about the best mixers by Momtastic. And you can click here and read the full article, and you can see the ones that they ranked highest. This was rated best overall. This was rated runner-up. This is best with a bowl. This producer wrote these products up probably because that's what they were exposed to. Someone sent them samples or what have you, and they considered what they felt were the best. Mostly probably because there's commission to be had, and they published it on their website. So if you go to Momtastic and if you search for that name, Momtastic, now we know that this is where this content was being syndicated from. So on this particular influencer's website, we need to figure out how do we communicate with them. There's a contact us page at the bottom that we can reach out and send samples. We could reach out and say, hey, how could we get to participate in one of your upcoming articles? This is what we sell, etc. And hopefully you can get that free placement because Amazon is not charging for that. That's not sponsored placement. That is free placement that you're getting, and Amazon's paying the commission to the person that wrote up the content. So it could be as simple as sending them a sample, or there may be other monetary things that they may require to be considered, part of that article. So it could be well worth your time if that category is getting one of those editorial recommendations.
Yep. And I think this works especially well if you have a unique product, not a Me Too kind of thing, more so because the owner of this Momtastic or whoever runs it may receive the sample and say, wow, I don't receive things like this very often. Let's check it out.
Or you could be one of the best selling items, right? So it's like you saw there, it was like best with a bowl, that was it. They put it in its own category. So like you said, it's unique. You could get put in your own category as well. But if it's a bestseller, maybe you'd win the best recommendation that they have.
Mm-hmm.
Both would be options for you.
Yeah.
And by the way, if you clicked into that, this right here, editorial recommendations, it tells you that they earn commissions. You can click through and read the full article, or you can click through the name here, and it would take you to their public profile. This is their public profile, which this particular influencer hasn't set up, or it's broken. I don't know. And then you can click through and actually read the article from here and see what are they saying about it. Again, just additional placement. This happens to be free, but you really have to look at it based on what is my consumer base being exposed to. They're exposed to all of these sponsored placements. They're exposed to these competitors that all look the same. How can I differentiate both with additional placements, new revised images, changes to our titles, etc. One thing that we were talking about earlier as a group was the fact that if you had a no-name brand, we may have recommended putting the title, your brand name, further back in the title because it's less important. That we'd rather have the organic placement. But I believe that Amazon has gotten so cluttered with no-name brands that the consumer's seeing fatigue if there's a lot of products here, they don't know what these brands are. None of them look good. None of them are recognized. I believe that the consumer kind of assumes that most of these are generic products. Maybe they're fine, maybe they're not. But if they see something that has a good brand or a recognizable brand, they're more likely to click into it. There's a higher trust factor. Like, I know Marcy is a name brand product. I might be more inclined to click into Marcy, even though it may not have as good of a brand, presence on the image, just because it has the brand name in the beginning and it's recognizable to me. What do you guys think about brand placement and title and image, changes that can be done to differentiate and stand out?
I mean, I agree with that. We've always, part of me wants to pull back from that, because from an SEO standpoint, I always want to get that relative highest search term phrase up there in the title in the beginning. But but I agree that especially when you think about it from a search result page, when you're scanning this and you see some of these names that I'll just say names that you haven't heard before, basically, and then the products all kind of look the same. It's kind of obvious, what's happening is that, sellers are buying from, a manufacturer in China, and they're, putting the same product out there. I recently bought a trampoline, and I saw that it's actually more prevalent on trampolines. Like, it's the same trampoline image over and over and over again in the different sellers. So if you come across a name in the front that you recognize, I agree 100% that that's going to have a huge influence on what I'm doing.
Yeah. For me, and I'm probably not the most typical consumer, in part just because of the job that we all have. But when I see a listing that is overall good quality, it says to me that, okay, these people have taken the time, they care, it's important to them. Now, it's not saying 100% that they have a good product, but it is saying to me that they're trying to build something. They're trying to build a brand. And if they are, then more than likely the product is a decent product. So Steve, to your point about the images, is having those good images. There's that saying, there's no such thing as bad advertising. And in this case, what I mean by that is doing something that makes you stand out a little bit more. Like, we always talk about putting a coupon on your product or a sale just to get that badge, because that badge attracts your eye.
Which, speaking of which, is right here. Save 5% with coupon, save 10% with coupon. Yep. That definitely helps those products stand out for sure.
Yeah, exactly. And so my point in that is that if you have an image that is head and shoulders above the others, or it does something to attract your thing. When you showed that mixer, it was kind of small, and I think that's part because you're showing it on Zoom, but it appeared to me it was a piece of birthday cake on there. Well, that elicits a positive response. You see a birthday cake. True. Who doesn't want to eat a piece of birthday cake, especially when it's homemade, made by your mixer there? Yep. So there is, yes, we are all data driven. That's what, especially you and I, Steve, working at Amazon, data is king at Amazon, but there's still an emotional response to making a purchase there, especially on a product, maybe not a cable, but a mixer, for me, a fishing reel, with it, those kinds of things. So think about those things.
I don't know. When you've got 4 kids, you can be pretty passionate about your cables. I was going to say too, though, like in this category, you've got 2 sponsor placements as well too, similar to the mixers. And on the mixers, you don't have to go back there, but I believe the first 2 spots both have coupons. And I was thinking, that's a tactic that we've used for a long time. We'll use it on specific campaign types that are pushing organic rank. But there's a lot to be said for the conversion rates improvement on those placements by doing that coupon, and then maybe investing for, say, 8 to 10 days on a certain keyword and putting a coupon there. And then when you get that, your rank pushed up, then you can pull back on that spend and pull the coupon off. But that's an excellent tactic.
Yeah, no doubt.
Especially if you only have 2 placements there.
Yeah, yeah. Hey, very quickly, if there's anybody out there that has any questions, there is the Q&A section here. If you're coming to us through Facebook, then come join us over through on our Zoom there, where you can ask any question. We will try and get to all of them in the allotted time.
Yeah, that's a good point, Robert. This isn't about us, it's about you guys. So whatever questions you have, please surface them to us in the chat, and we'd love to interact with you and perhaps even brainstorm with you. One thing that I want to point out, I was just looking at, is this one here says featured from our brands. So this is I pulled up this page because I wanted to show that if you search for a generic product, the strategy may change, but it also makes it that much more important to, if you have a really good brand, to use it to your advantage. So if I see here, no name, not a good name, no name, no name, no name, no name, no name, no name, you know what I mean? These are all products that consumer sees are clearly generic. And if I put a poor name here in the front, like I just said, this does not have a good name. In my opinion, I can see that this is probably makes a lot of sense in another language, but I don't even know how to pronounce that name. To me, it doesn't seem like a good name to me. So I would probably put it later in the title. Like here, they put their name. I think that's their name. Here in the middle of the title, but typically I'd put it at the end of the title if it's a no-name generic brand. And that's going to give you the best terms in the beginning of the title. Like here, if I search for USB Type-C cable, then this item has the highest relevancy for that term out of the items that I see here. So Amazon's likely going to give it better placement. That's not what I searched for. So I searched for generic, charging cables. But that's something to note. But what I saw was this says featured from our brands. And Amazon has an accelerator program that you can participate in where they have the right to basically buy that brand from you. It becomes, you prove it, and then they can start using it as a private label brand should they choose. Well, this placement that they've been able to receive may be largely due to the fact that they are featured. They're one of Amazon's considered brands. So that may be one reason that if you had somewhat of a generic product, participating in that program might really give you a leg up. This one has obviously a good amount of reviews, and that may have been pivotal for them. But I just wanted to show you that the naming conventions are oftentimes crazy on these products. But what I found is only one product really has a brand. Everything else is clearly generic. If I look at this one, this is screen protectors. Again, I don't know how to pronounce this. I don't know how to pronounce this. I don't know how to pronounce this. Like, these are brands that do not come across to me as brands that give me a sense of confidence that it's a brand that I would find in a Best Buy.
Right.
And the ones that I think these brands have smartened up to the fact that they know that their brand is generic. So by trying to make it look like it's in a retail package, they're giving more confidence and using that as a draw-in for their main image. And that's another tactic that can be used even if you don't have a brand name. Just trying to make it look like it's a retail packed product can go a long way to adding consumer confidence. Because I can envision this hanging on a shelf in a Best Buy, but if I see something that's literally just a couple pieces of screen protector, perhaps this item right here, no packaging shown whatsoever, maybe my assumption is that this is going to come in a poly bag, with a sticker on it. No retail branding, and can I really trust it? I'm investing in something that's going to protect my phone. Is this truly going to protect my phone when the brand is YMHML? Like, what is that? So,
right.
Anyways, a lot of things to consider, but I want you guys as our clients and folks that we've interacted with or joining this webinar to think about this constantly and always be tweaking and reiterating on your listings, including content, including imagery, including how you're planning your advertising placements, etc. And we have a saying here that I like to use called progression, not perfection, meaning you always want to be progressing and improving your listings constantly. Don't wait till they're perfect to launch them or to roll out content changes. Constantly make changes.